Well, it's 5 o'clock on the second Thursday of the month. It's time to call this board meeting to order. We'll begin with a call of the roll. Uh, Tony,
Here.
Leanne, Leanne, are you here? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here.
Robin,
Here.
Larry is here as well, and we're missing one board member, but we do have a quorum. I'll entertain a motion to approve the order of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the order of agenda. Is there any discussion, additions, corrections, deletions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The order of the agenda has been approved. Are there any public comments to be made?
No one has signed up.
No one has signed up. Excellent. I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Leanne will second. It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any questions, comments, additions, deletions? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? I'll say aye as well. All right, moving on then to the regular agenda. We have no old business, but we do have new business. The first on the agenda is the approval of the final budget for 2025. Jenna, what do you have to tell us?
Yeah, so I'd like to introduce our new city finance director who has joined us in this meeting as well. So while I am sharing my screen, Willie, if you are with us, if you just want to say hi, and here's your moment.
Sure. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. My name is Willie Galindo. I am, as Jenna has mentioned, the Director of Finance for the City of West Fargo. I look forward to working with each and every one of you regarding what she's about to show you. It's the budget for the library. We're hoping that you're pleased with the results. And take it away, Jenna. And glad to be here from a small little place called California.
Whereabouts?
The city of Palmdale.
I'm a Ventura County native myself.
Oh, there you are. So you're probably a little familiar with it. The corner edge of Los Angeles County, as we call it.
Right.
And yeah, we've grown a little bit, but I'm looking forward to working here.
Get back. Well, okay. Thank you very much, Willie.
No problem.
Jenna?
Yeah. Are you able to see the final draft of the budget on your screens?
Yep.
Great.
I think so.
This is largely the same as what we looked at our last board meeting when we updated that preliminary budget to include in the city budget book. The change that was made is on Monday at the city commission meeting. The COLA was officially set at 2.5. And so we adjusted those lines in here to be reflective of that COLA. So all the first 4 lines, you'll see adjustments in those with permanent salaries, part-time salaries, Social Security and retirement are based off of the salary numbers as well using a formula. So those numbers changed a little bit there. And then the other thing that changed is cost allocation. Down here, you can see that went up by $340. Cost allocations is our share of the janitorial salaries. And so once the COLA was applied to that, that went up just a little bit for us. So very minor changes. Again, it looks largely the same as what we looked at last time, a little bit more in depth. We did also, the finance department added a column for us on the very right, the year-over-year change, which I thought was pretty helpful. So I included that in this as well. Literally what you're approving is this final budget column here. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Willie or for Jenna about this budget for 2025? We did get the mill levy increase that we asked for,
Yes.
which is dandy, so that we can continue to do the things that we do, if not improve upon them.
Big thanks to the city commission for that. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Robin.
Is this the time and place to ask about our undesignated or our reserve funding? And maybe not meeting the average that we want, the percentage that we want to have in there from year to year?
So Willie just started.
Okay,
And we haven't really had time to dig into that yet. What I can tell you is that Jim, the previous, well, a past finance director of the city was contracted to do a little bit of work over the summer in getting the budget ready. And that was one of the things that he looked into. So we do know now how to look up our cash balance for this fund line, the 7,000 fund line that the library has. And unspent dollars at the end of the year, according to Century Code, cannot go back to the city or county. They must be used for only the library. So Willie and I need to spend some time I want to give him a chance to make sure that he feels good about how we're looking that up before there's like any official numbers reported. But that is a really good question. So we are so close.
great. Well, and yeah, and whenever we have that information, I think it would be good for us as a board to review. And I don't like from a school district standpoint in general, and I can speak to Minnesota, maybe not as much to North Dakota, but like we had certain percentages that we had to meet for our reserve. And I don't know if North Dakota for libraries has that same stipulation. I just want to make sure that that on average we have enough in reserve that allows us to operate, but allows us to meet the lay of the land as well.
Yeah, so I've actually done a little research on that with the state library and surrounding library systems. It seems like 3 to 6 months is best practice. 3 months would be on the minimum side. 6 months feels more safe. And that's because the library doesn't have taxing ability like a city does. And so we would have to go to the city for funding. So if our funding sources were to change, if there were some sort of disaster, Yellowstone erupts or something, we need to be able to operate. And so having those funds in a cash balance that we could access to keep paying our bills is really important. And because we know that local government moves slowly, it does, then that's why the recommendation is 3 to 6 months. So.
Well, and again, I look forward to future conversations and future information around that. So.
Yeah.
In saying that, unless there's other questions, I was going to make a motion to approve the final budget for 2025.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the 2025 final draft of the library budget. Are there all those in favor of approving that draft, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Dandy, the final budget has been approved. Thank you, Willie, for your help, and thank you, Jenna, for your forcefulness on this matter.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye. All right, we move now to item number 2, the approval of the recommended 2025 operating hours. Jenna.
I'm gonna pull that memo up on my screen here. For some time, we have looked at our staffing flows in 2023. A lot of time was spent looking at different staffing models to make sure that we were getting the coverage that we needed, and we were being as flexible as we could be with staff schedules while still maintaining a really high quality of service, and also making sure that our part-time people are offered the same crack at the part-time hours available. So in looking at our second site, which is now under construction, and thinking about how we're going to staff that once the size has become a little bit more clear, we started looking even more closely at our current operating hours. It is very hard to staff Sundays in particular. And so in this memo that I shared with the board, we are recommending that the board approve removing Sundays from the library's open hours in 2025. Currently, we require our circulation staff, so that is the staff working the front desk, to be available for weekends, including a Sunday shift on a rotating basis. And what that means is we do have staff members that are required to work 9 days in a row before they get a day off. As you can imagine, this leads to an increase in illnesses, burnout, and it's just as hard on work-life balance. We've also noticed post-COVID that most businesses, customer service oriented businesses, so if you think of like restaurants, it's really common to see them being closed on a Wednesday or Monday or whatever their lowest traffic flow day is due to just staffing challenges. So we took a hard look at our traffic numbers, our door counts, to see what those traffic flows really are. Sundays are our lowest average traffic per hour that we're open. And the other point I wanted to bring up too is recently our circulation staff were asked in their one-on-one meetings with their supervisor, what is one thing that would positively improve your job satisfaction? I didn't know that the supervisors were asking this question. I just heard the results later. The supervisors also did not know that this was something that our management team had been looking at, because once a rumor starts, we just wanted to avoid that. So while we were investigating, it wasn't shared with anybody beyond that management team. Anyway, the circulation staff overwhelmingly shared with us that working Sundays has the most negative impact because of those burnout and scheduling concerns. So with those things in mind, I am open to questions. I know that there will be some negative effect to patrons. Obviously, we do have patrons coming to the library on Sundays, but again, it's the smallest impact with the biggest gain. And in adding a second site, we will have an increase in net hours available to the public. So this will help us be able to staff that adequately and cover for illnesses or vacations. I'll stop now.
That was going to be my first question, like with a reduction of a day per week, does that reduce people's hours in terms of their weekly hours that they would be receiving?
No.
Okay.
We'll still be using all of those hours, and we'll be looking at how we can actually maximize them a little bit more with opening up this second location.
Then how would that work? And I don't think well, we may have, I just don't remember if we've set other closure dates maybe we did last month. Like, does that affect any of our other closure dates in terms of dates that we've closed for PD and or other holidays?
So that'll be on our November agenda.
is
That's part of
November,
why we're
okay.
having this discussion this month. We have to wait for the city to come out with their pay period calendar, and then we set our closures based on that city calendar that comes out. So that should be coming out soon.
And when does the second site open?
So like I said, construction has just begun. The contractor is anticipating, they're working on two projects at the same time. So the library space and the new commission chambers at City Hall. And all of that is expected to take 3 months. So end of this year is when they should be wrapping up. Of course, we have to order furniture and all of those things as well. So sometime in the very
We're not
beginning
there
of
yet, but we're
25
getting there.
is when we expect to open.
Okay.
So we are going to, I will entertain a motion to approve this proposal to be closed on Sundays beginning in 2025. So anybody want to make the motion?
I'm reading again to, I don't recall okay, effective 2025. All right, thank you for reminding me.
I have a question first, or a couple.
Yes, sir.
So when, if this were to be approved, when would this start to be communicated to the public? And then, oh, I had the other one, but just lost it.
I
I
can
would
take that
expect this.
first one.
Okay,
We would start communicating right away. There's generally a press release that goes out following our board meetings. And so that would go to the newspaper right away with the effective date. I will add, we just got back from NDLA, the North Dakota Library Association Conference. And also in talking with the Fargo director, Tim Dirks, just a couple weeks ago, I learned that independently, the Fargo Public Library has been studying this as well. And they're actually recommending to their board in a couple days the exact same thing due to staffing challenges. And I believe in their staff flow, they have some people that are working 12 days in a row before they get a day off, which is not great. So it's going to be a regional, if this is approved, and if the Fargo Library approves as well, the Moorhead Library, I believe, is currently closed on Sundays too. So it's kind of a normal community expectation that will be happening.
Thank you for reminding me of that Fargo Public closing possibility. I thought that was kind of interesting. It was happening about the same time.
Yeah.
Okay, the other question I had was kind of around other cities. So no one mentioned Fargo, Moorhead. Are there any other cities within the state that have, or their libraries closed on Sundays, or are they all generally open? And do we know kind of which direction they might be headed? Has there been any other talk with them?
I haven't talked to the other larger cities like Bismarck, Minot, or Grand Forks to see what their hours are. I guess I'm not sure. In the more rural areas, it's really common to only be open a few days a week due to staffing challenges. So I'm just budget.
Okay, thank you.
Is that, I presume this is forestalling what will happen. We're already looking ahead a bit to understand that opening the second branch is going to cause basically at least generate some of the problem.
Well, yes, so you're correct.
This,
When we went to the commission earlier this year to add to FTE. Part of that was to meet our current challenges, and part of it was to be able to have the staffing capacity when we're ready to open this satellite site. At that time, we did not know how big the site was going to be, and honestly, we were expecting it to be a bit smaller. So we are going to need 2 staff people at our satellite location when it is open. We were thinking previously it could be staffed by 1 person, so now we've doubled it. And while that might not seem like a huge change, when we have to have a supervisor over there due to the various permissions in our softwares and training and whatnot, dealing with cash and all of those things, it's important to have that supervisor. So we have a limited number of supervisors. This is going to help us spread them adequately.
I've done some searching. Minot and Dickinson are closed on Sundays. Grand Forks is open 1 to 5. Bismarck is open 1 to 6. So it's pretty much a wash, but with the 2 largest cities in the state deciding to close on Sundays, there is an excellent chance, I think, that Grand Forks and Bismarck will follow suit. Unless more money is forthcoming and we all can afford to stay open on Sundays. This was a big question in academic library land too. Provision of reference service on Sundays. We started off with a great deal of vocational awe. We're librarians. We live to serve the public, and we'll do whatever we can to do that. But it turns out that the public is not asking to be served as much as we thought. It hurt our feelings a great deal, but it was just the way things were.
Good comments.
Okay, I will again, I don't think that we got a motion and a second for approval of this proposal.
I'll make a motion to approve the elimination of Sundays being open starting January 1st, 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second? I will second. Is there any more discussion? Questions, comments? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much. Next, we have the strategic plan results report.
Let me just switch my screens real quick. Our current strategic plan was for the years 2022 through 2024. So we're coming up near the end of that. As the board knows, we are working on our next strategic plan already, including gathering values data, community input, and some surveys. But before we close this one out, I wanted to report to you what our successes were on the current plan. The guiding principles of our current strategic plan were the mission and vision. We want to provide a space and the resources for folks to learn, meet, share, read, play, and create, to explore their passions and develop social connections. The values that informed this strategic plan were access, integrity, service, growth, and diversity. Like most strategic plans, there was community interviews and stakeholders, surveys that went out. to identify what the values, needs, and desires were, and from that data, 4 service goals were developed. Goal number 1 was for parents to have services for their families in close, convenient locations in order to maximize the library's resources available to them. So what we did was we brought the services to them. You're very familiar, I'm sure, with the little red reading bus shown in that top picture there. And it's recently been replaced with our library on wheels. So we're going to be able to use this vehicle year round. And again, thanks to First International Bank for their donation to help us secure that vehicle. We attended community events, a variety of organizational events, school resource nights, and things all around the community. Goal number 2 was for children birth to age 5 to develop literacy and social skills that ensure they are ready for kindergarten. So we redesigned our storytime programs to make sure that we were addressing all different kinds of learning styles, and that children were taught to sing, talk, read, write, and play every day with their families, and families were encouraged to do those things as well. We implemented 1,000 books before kindergarten, which has 274 participants. And you've heard me say it before, but we have record-breaking attendance at our story times. So we're averaging 96 attendees per week this year. That is incredible. Goal number 3 was for teens to develop personal interests, build life skills, and gain real-world experiences that ensure they are confident and prepared for their futures. So we implemented a summer internship program. This has been really successful. We've had really wonderful interns, and they really help us meet that first goal too of bringing services out into the community by helping us engage folks at those summer bus stops. We expanded our reach and partnership with West Fargo Public Schools by offering student cards to grades 6 and up, and also designing reading challenges for them to participate in partnership with us through Beanstack. Our teen program options have expanded as well to include at least one teen-specific program each month. So we've seen much more consistent participation and growing numbers of attendance in those things. Goal number 4 was that everyone will have services and resources in which they see themselves represented in order to feel welcome and take full advantage of what is available at the library. In order to do this, our technical services team performed a diversity audit of a high priority collection, and we'll be able to use that framework for other collections as well down the road. It also informed some of our collection development practices. We implemented English conversation circle events. So these are monthly programs for folks where English is not your first language, maybe it's your second, third, seventh language, but you just want to work on your conversational skills. So once you have gotten through your adult basic English classes in the community, this is the next place you can go to continue to improve those skills. Staff have done trainings focused on reaching and improving our services and resources for underrepresented communities. For example, we worked with the North Dakota Autism Center multiple times. We've done a variety of webinars, and we're also doing implicit bias training for all staff. We have developed and maintained partnerships with a variety of community service organizations like the Food Bank, Job Service, Community Options, Cass County Housing Authority, and are continually seeking what we can be doing there. A new addition that you will see soon in our library is a community resource wall, where we have information for a lot of these types of agencies available in our library. So if somebody walks in and we learn that they have a need, we can take them right to that information, or they can just browse it discreetly as well. Beyond the goals, we push to break all kinds of records and reach objectives to meet and exceed patron expectations that weren't necessarily called out in those 4 specific goals in the strategic plan, but still met the values expressed in there. So some examples include, we had the highest circulation of all time in June of this year, and consistently it's been higher than 2023 every month. We also took a hard look at the accessibility of our space and our resources. Recently, we created an accessible public computer station. So if you come in a power chair or a walker, for example, you're able to adjust the height of that desk. We have a high visibility keyboard available as well at that station. It also doesn't have a chair at it because what we've learned is it's not really an accessible station if it has a chair there. It's hard to move a chair out of the way if you're in a power chair. Certainly one can be added very easily though. We also replaced our service desk with a more ADA compliant model with service windows where we can pass things back and forth much more easily at that seated height. We removed the need to use a key to go up to the top floor in the library in our elevator. And our collections were reorganized for better accessibility as well, including moving the large print and the audiobooks down to that main level. We provided an expanded in-demand senior and adult programs and services. Here's a variety of those. Lots of things going on there. We also took a look at our out-of-date policies and have updated a fair number of those. Our internal procedures were updated for efficiency. We took a hard look at our organizational chart. And as I said earlier in a previous item, we looked at a variety of different staffing models to ensure that we are offering the best service we can, particularly at that primary service point of our service desk. And then we started work to create a satellite library space at the West Fargo City Hall. One of the things that was called out in the data from the research for the strategic plan is folks want a library that's within 10 minutes of their house or apartment or wherever they're residing. So with so much growth to the south of West Fargo, it makes sense to be putting a location much more accessible for them down there. We also have the book drops available around town as well. So if you're at the grocery store, you can return your item there and it's much more convenient. And with that, I would take any questions if there's any questions about that current strategic plan.
Any questions for Jenna?
When when you open up the next the satellite library, roughly that will be on the 1st or so of January then, or close. And okay,
I don't know when the furniture is going to arrive.
we're working on the plan yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Close enough for what we can do now.
Yeah, so we will continue our data collection for the next strategic plan through the end of the year. And then we will work on creating that plan the beginning of 2025 and present it to the board for adoption, probably first quarter of 2025 sometime.
Right. Thank you very much, Jenna. Appreciate that and look forward to the work on the next strategic plan. Getting back to the library Sunday hours one last time, I checked my hometown library. Thousand Oaks has 127,000 people as of 2023. And it is open. The main library is open from noon to 5. There is a branch library just north on the freeway, and that is closed on Sundays. So I think that they have certainly a large enough population to support paying their employees to be there on Sundays.
I'll be really interested to know kind of what goes on at Fargo Public.
Yeah. And this is something we can study again down the road too.
Right.
And we might have to. It's just a case of finding out, I guess, at this point. If you're pressed into that kind of situation, got to do something. But you know, whether that's the right thing or not, we'll find out.
We will await the voice of the people. Director's report. I think that's you again, Jenna.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Thank you, board. I am so pleased to report that our air conditioning is now fixed. We also recently installed pads on a roll in the ladies' restrooms. Our carpet replacement project, we did get quotes. We looked at the quotes in talking with our buildings and grounds crew. However, they really were adamant that they are not going to be able to help during the winter months. And so we're not able to replace our carpet during the summer because that's our busiest time of the year. So it's looking like that carpet replacement project for our main library is likely to occur in 2025 early fall, so that we can make the most of cost savings and utilizing some of our public works buildings and grounds crew for some of the moving that needs to happen for that. Like I said earlier, demolition and construction has begun on our second location in City Hall. And also happy to report we now have screens available in all library meeting rooms to increase the AV capacity in those spaces. As you know, the meeting room usage is really up. And so one of the things that is commonly requested is to have that ability to have a meeting up on a screen in those spaces. And we only had one meeting room. So if we were using that for something, we had to say no to meeting room requests. Well, now we have capacity in all of our rooms. We repurposed some screens that were in other places. And so, yeah, real pleased about that one. The September financials were attached, but the highlights are that we are 67% expended year to date. So right on track this year for our finances. I'm so proud of our team in handling this increase in circulation that we've seen. It really is a whole team effort to increase these circulation numbers, because it's our collection development folks making sure that we're ordering the materials that people actually really want. Circulation obviously is helping check them out, check them in, get them back on the shelves. Our technical services team is getting them cataloged and processed as soon as they can to get them out on the floor immediately. And our program staff even just recommending materials to folks as they meet them in different programs. It's everybody, even marketing. tons of marketing impact there as well. So this is amazing that our circulation just continues to trend so much higher than the previous year. That's also reflective in our door counts as well, being higher. You can see that big jump from March to April. Again, that is when we fixed the door counter. We had noticed that the numbers were a little lower than we expected when we looked at some of our other statistics at the beginning of the year. And so once that was fixed, those door counts went up there and have been trending higher than the previous year. In September, we added our notary public services. You may remember approving that policy. So we have had people coming in to use that service already, and we've also heard from some city departments that they are interested in using that service for their needs as well. Our technical services team, in looking ahead at our second site opening, has been working with Odin on switching to a floating collection model. This is going to allow us to move materials between the two locations seamlessly. So once we check it in at one site, it now resides there. If it is checked in at another site, it now resides there. And this is also going to help with the flow with our outreach as well. So if we have something on the Library on Wheels van going out to a location, we'll be able to see it's checked in there, that's where it's at, until it's checked out to a patron. Odin is helping us to also set some limits. So once we have all of our shelving set up in our second location and we know we only have shelf space for X number of large print materials, then once we've reached that limit, it will set that item as in transit back to our main library because it'll be full. It'll also be a trigger for us then to rotate some materials in there to keep things fresh. Speaking of outreach services, they attended a whole bunch of events in September. They made 21 different library cards for folks at those events, and we connected with over 800 people. So we've worked with the North Dakota Autism Center, different wellness and targeted population expos and conferences, the West Fest Parade, and the Family Fun. The Family History Workshop was a really great opportunity to connect with folks as well. And of course, those family resource nights with the West Fargo Public Schools. Some upcoming outreach that we have for October is the Library on Wheels is going to be at the Lights on Monday, the 21st. And on the 24th, they'll be at Junkyard Brewing. These stops will look a lot more like what our summer route sites look like as far as the spectrum of services that we're offering. So excited to really be utilizing that new vehicle in this way.
Jenna, is the Library on Wheels strictly children's books?
No.
Okay.
Be hard to do a children's stop at the brewery.
That's what I was wondering.
Yes, all ages.
Okay.
But the collection on there will be tailored for the specific site that we're visiting.
Excellent.
Youth services and all ages services. So we will be celebrating YALSA, that's the Young Adult Library Service Association's Teentober, with a series of teen Halloween events every Thursday in October. These were a big hit last year, so we're looking forward to them again this year. We're having a trick or sweet Halloween party on the 26th, and we have partnered with Sanford and MSCTC for a free influenza vaccine clinic for ages 6 months and up. We also, the picture there is from a recent Lego day that we had at the library. Those are always fun. Those will be monthly. Cribbage Club has returned for adult services. And we are looking forward to an event next week with a League of Women Voters on how to vote. So everything you need to know on casting your vote for the upcoming election. The League is a really great nonpartisan resource to just provide education for folks to know what's going to be on their ballot, if they need to register, how, and what that process looks like. We're also starting a new book club in October called the Civic Minds Roundtable. This is in partnership with NDSU Extension and Civic West. And the idea is to engage residents in West Fargo in a discussion of media relevant to civic life. So we're calling it a book club, but there could be a variety of media like podcasts and other things incorporated into those book club media resources for that group. Looking forward to that partnership and to see where that goes with both Extension and Civic West.
What kind of public relations will be surrounding this event?
Like what kind of media is going out?
Advertising and such like, yes.
Yep. So it's going to be in all of our normal thing. We have emails that go out to library card holders or anybody that has subscribed. Then it's in our magazine that's printed. It'll be on social media and our website as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any outreach to the forum? Are we
Yes, there will
likely
be
to get
press.
anything out of them?
Press releases go out for big events and partnerships like that, certainly.
Okay.
Speaking of big events, One Book, One Community is happening right now. This is a joint effort between academic, public libraries in the area, as well as historical societies. This year, they're reading The River We Remember by William Kent Krieger, and that main author event is coming up this month, October 29th, at the Centrum at Concordia at 7 p.m. I believe it will be streamed as well. It has been in the past.
Just finished this book and it was so good. Very good. Good read.
And he is a really great speaker. I've heard him before.
Okay.
So highly recommend that.
Good to know. Thank you.
The Friends have a book sale coming up this weekend. So on Saturday from 10 to 4 and Sunday from 1 to 4, we invite everybody to come. So this is a big community supported event that happens. People bring in books, movies, games, art supplies. There's a variety. There's a ton of puzzles in there. Lots of stuff available in this book sale. We should probably call it a media sale, not a book sale. And that's their biggest fundraiser for the year. The Friends are a nonprofit group whose mission is to support library programs and services. In the past, they have supported the Little Red Reading Bus. They've helped to buy shelving and a variety of things as well. Our friends have contributed $15,000 towards the furnishing of our second site at City Hall. And this is how they pay for that. So big shout out to the Friends for the work that they put in. They've been working really long hours getting everything sorted and set up. So thank you so much to them for that. I hope the sale goes well. I mentioned earlier that we were just at NDLA, the North Dakota Library Association Conference. 5 of us attended. Our youth services librarian, Sarah Davis, she presented a poster on Storytime best practices. She called it a Storytime manifesto. It was really well received. And she really is a Storytime superstar. All the kids in the area know her. And it was really great to have her share her ideas, particularly since she redesigned our Storytime program to be much more inclusive. and dynamic, getting kids ready to read and school ready. Our adult services librarian Claire here presented on creating a writing circle. Our writing circle has been a really wonderful group that we have here as well, and she knocked it out of the park with that presentation. Kirsten, our adult services manager, was the conference co-chair, and she did a fantastic job. It was a really well put together conference. The sessions were really wonderful. And that's a lot of work. So big thanks to Kirsten for that. Also attending were myself and Kayla, our circulation manager. Like I said, yeah, really wonderful conferences, lots of takeaways. We've been talking with staff about all kinds of things that we learned since then. And we look forward to next year when it will be a tri-conference of the Mountain Plains Library Association, South Dakota Library Association, and North Dakota Library Association together in Grand Forks in the beginning of October. And with that, are there any more outstanding questions about anything in the library, director's reports or otherwise?
And you did just say that the tri-conference next year was in October.
Yes.
Right, in Grand Forks.
In Grand Forks, beginning of October, yeah.
Okay.
So next month, when we bring our holiday and staff training closures, included on that will be one day to try to get as many staff members as we can able to carpool up there and attend the full day of sessions for that conference.
Do they have events for library boards?
Yes, library board members are welcome to attend as well. One of the things that the state library always does is a legislative update. And so in particular, I think that would be really great for library board members to attend.
Yep. Anything else for Jenna? All righty, well then, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, we stand adjourned. The next meeting is November 14th. Okay,
Sounds good.
Right.
See you
Thank
there.
you very much.
Good to see all of you. See you
Thanks,
soon.
Lord.